Unveiling the Ripple Effect, a deep dive into mental health with Coach Lily Lomeli. Join us in this enlightening interview with renowned life coach Lily Lomeli. Lily, a single mother who overcame her struggles and dedicated her life to helping others, discusses the profound impact mental health has on our decisions and lives. Drawing from personal experiences and professional insights, she unravels the truth behind the ripple effects of our mental states. Lily firmly believes things are not about you, but everything is about you. Tune in to discover how to create positive ripples in your life with a wellness wheel guide to self coaching and transformation. Welcome to the Wellness Driven Life Show, where you're about to go on a wellness driven ride. Let me share a little bit about the guest that we have here today. Lily Lomeli, a 37-year-old single mother and proud Mexican, is a distinguished coach who embarked on a transformative journey 14 years ago. Despite her honors degree in business administration and master's, she found her true calling lay elsewhere. Her experiences of struggle in a new country led her to empathize with others' pain and inspired her to help them reclaim their lives. Guiding people to unearth their desires, renew their minds, and change their harmful behaviors, Lily hopes to create a positive ripple effect in communities. She firmly believes in the adage, things are not about you, but everything is about you. I'm so pleased to help welcome Coach Lily Lomeli. Hi.
Hello. Thank you very much for having me today here. This is an
It's
honor.
it's my pleasure. I'm getting a little tongue-tied today. So correct me if I'm wrong in any of that. But it's really great to have you on the show. I'm excited to share your journey. I've had a pleasure of seeing you speak before and share it a little bit. So this is going to be a great conversation. Let's start by letting the audience know a little bit more about you. Can you tell us who you are?
Yes, this is such an honor. So I'm Mexican. You already said that. And I grew up. So after I achieve a lot of different stuff, right? I consider myself a go-getter. So if I think of something, I go and do it. But then at some point, I was feeling kind of like a void, like something was missing. So I came here, and when I came here, different place, different people, different languages. It's like mini communities all over the place. So I found a very dynamic world, but in that dynamic world, I continue missing something. So then I told myself, you know what, maybe in the search of purpose, I'm meant to be a mom and to have kids. And that's when things start going really, really wrong. But
Oh, geez.
yes.
Well, tell us about that because that's a fascinating thing that you said where maybe I was meant to do all of these things and then you start doing things and then it all kind
Yeah.
of blows up. So, when we think about the ideal life, right? So many of us have dreams and goals and visions of the perfect life and the perfect family and children and marriage and all of the things. And what you're saying, it sounds like, is when that came to fruition, it looked a lot different.
Yes, because the thing is, we think that this is what we tell ourselves. When I get the house, when I get married, when I get the kids, when I, we create these nonsense fantasy in our heads, and then we go and get it, which is great. We go and get it, but then we get to the point where it's like, oh, so now that I have here, what do I do with it? And or, oh, I thought it was going to be different. That's when mental health starts suffering, because we go and do things that we think is the best for us, and then it turns out that that wasn't it, right?
I don't know, Lily. I don't know if I can relate to this.
Mm.
No, I'm kidding. I can very much relate to this. So much relate to this. It's, and it's funny because it can be a profound statement when you don't really know that that's what's happening until you reflect on it later. That yes, why is it that when we have this idea and then we have it come and it looks so much different and then we're not happy? Is there I know many people live that way, right? Where they're so unhappy all the time, and because nothing really seems to add up to their expectations, right?
And that's the thing. See, we create expectations within that fantasy that we create these expectations of the things, how we want them things to look. And that's great. That's something that that's how we get inspired. That's how we get moving. That's how we start taking action, right? By inspiration. The thing is, and by expectations, the problem is that sometimes those expectations are so high, and we don't really understand their reality or what comes with those expectations. We just look at that piece. This is what I think. Life is like a big puzzle, right? So sometimes we with life, with time, we start collecting those puzzles. The problem is those pieces, but the problem is that we think that that puzzle looks some way, but then we don't really do the research. We don't really look at the whole thing, and then we go for it, which is great. But then we get there, and we have this sense of emptiness enters me. That's how I feel. Like, oh, I thought it was going to be different. Oh, I thought I was going to belong. Oh, I thought I was going to have friends. Oh, I thought, I thought, and then
Mm.
turns out that it's not how I thought. And then my self-esteem starts decaying, and I start feeling bad, and then I start thinking like, okay, so what's the point then? What's the point of me taking care of myself? What's the point?
Mm.
And I'm going with this is because at some point in my life I was 265 pounds, so I was a very heavy woman. But then I had a back injury, and that just escalated. And with weight, when you have an injury, when you put weight, it just gets worse. So
Mm.
at the point, I everybody was telling me like, well, you should take care of yourself. But then in all my misery, I thought, well, what's the point if I got what I wanted and still I feel this way? What's the point of me taking care of myself? And that's where a lot of us are when we get what we wanted and still it's not enough, then we suffer. That's
Mm.
why I do what I do, because it's hard, it's really, really hard.
Yeah, and what you're talking about, Lily, like first off, it's so funny when people say that they were this massive amount of weight, right? And then I look at them and I'm like, I can't even picture it. So I do have a picture of you, and I'm excited to bring that in and share that with the audience. And maybe I'll wait just a minute, but it's fascinating how we do take ourselves to those extremes. And in my mind, I feel that so much of that is all emotion stemmed, and the things that are happening. And I even feel that injury is also emotion stems. The things that come up in our lives are because we have some sort of root emotional cause to it.
Yeah.
And then our bodies are just saying, we need to slow down, stop, and pay attention to this. And then it can just be this tumbling down, spiraling down, and things continue to get worse and worse. So it's a fascinating story, Lily, that you have. And I might just bring that photo in so the audience can see, because now that we're on the topic of it, let's bring this in.
Yes. And that
That's
wasn't even
amazing.
my biggest point. That wasn't even my biggest point. That was just years before. But yeah, so the thing is, I'm always being in the heavy set. I have always been the fat one. I'm just gonna put it out there. And I was bullied as a kid. So and it started really early, right? So I wanted always to belong. So I was always up and down, up and down, up and down. And that's a lot of the things that I do now. It has that as a foundation. It's not just doing something momentarily, but doing something that will last. That's
Mm.
one of my biggest foundations. And this right here, what you see, oh my god, just to think about it is like because it's hard. It affects your body, affects your physical health, affects your mental health, your psychological health, your emotional health, even your spiritual health. So and it's at some point that you said, you know what, enough is enough. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I would love to talk about. What was that point for you where you said enough is enough?
I was pregnant. So I remember that. Oh my goodness, I was pregnant, and I since the back injury, so I couldn't even move. So I got to a point where I couldn't even drive. So I had a failed marriage, so I found
Mm.
myself as a single mom with two. So I had my little daughter, and then my son. I was pregnant, right? So that day I remember trying to go to work, but I couldn't sit in the car because the pain, I had radiating pain, shooting pain through my leg. So I wasn't able to sit up. I wasn't able to like basically at work, I was limping like a 86-year-old woman. And I had people was helping me. People,
Mm.
I was like early 30s, maybe late 20s, yeah. And people was helping me to walk around. And that was, oh my god, I that was so humiliating because like
Mhm.
my boss, who is 50 some, was helping me walk around in the office. So
Yeah.
I remember just it was just it's a huge mental struggle, right? Because I came here saying, yes, I can. And then next thing I know, I'm pregnant, I cannot walk, I cannot even help my kids. And I kept thinking,
Yeah.
how am I going to provide for my kids if I'm feeling like if I cannot even walk, right? My lowest point was when
Yeah.
I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna give birth, and then I'm gonna have two kids, and I probably won't be able to walk. How in heaven I'm going to take my son for a stroll around the block? How I'm going to be able to provide for my kids? So it was terrifying to say, oh my god, I'm not even 30 and I'm suffering and I feel devastating, and it was just such a hard time for me. Someone told me once, sometimes in life, bad things need to happen to us, to some people, for things
Mm.
to change. And that was me. That was like, okay, yeah. And because I didn't get it. So that point when I couldn't even sit in my car, that's when I said, you know what? Enough is enough. And plus, I had little angels. I had friends around me that they were like, but just take care of yourself. And when they saw me, this is a joke now. When like I would say, I will be limping or moving around little by little, and she will come and say, so what are you gonna do about it? But like this, what are you gonna do about it? And that will get on my nerve, right? But I never had the gut to really do something about it until that moment when I couldn't walk.
Yeah, I think that we have to have those profound moments of decision. And it takes that. I agree with you that we have to go through these difficult struggles in life in order to come to those profound moments of decision where we want to change and we want to expand and grow. I mean, otherwise, what's the point, right? But that's the yin, the yang, the
Yeah.
light and the dark, the contrast of life where we wouldn't know otherwise, right? We wouldn't have a desire to do something differently if we didn't know the opposite effect. And so I think that the story is absolutely beautiful. I love stories of transformation like this because it inspires people so much. So for those of you viewing who are struggling with life and weight and all of the things, because oftentimes they go so hand in hand, right? When we are suffering emotionally or have had some traumas in life that keep affecting us now, that's how they show up, right? They all of the things, our environment, the internal reflects the external,
Yeah.
and it just shows up in all of those ways. And so I really love, and I want to bring that photo back in one more time because I just think it's really cool. I think it's a great photo. So
And
um
just piggybacking really quick on that one, and based on the expectations, what I was talking about earlier, I thought that when I lost the weight, I said, okay, so I'm going to dedicate to lose weight. That was my main focus. So I said, I'm going to lose weight to see if I can eliminate the pain. That was my primary goal. And two, I said, I want to feel better. I want to be able to mentally and emotionally feel better. That was my expectation. But then it turns out I lost all that weight, but my self esteem was like this little still. I still didn't get that mental transformation. So, talking about expectations, we have to work on our mental health. Yes, changing physically helps a lot, but also, what else are you doing to help yourself up here?
I agree, but look at the confidence in this photo. The change in confidence. I just got to point that out. I just got to point that out. I think it's beautiful and fabulous. So when we talk about how what was that like for you? I know that you said that you still had things to work on, but where you started with the physical piece of life, right? The
Yeah.
physical aspects. And when we talk about health and wellness, and I know that you have I think it's 7 buckets, the wheel, correct? Is that
Yes.
the 7 buckets that you have within the wheel? Although I'm calling them buckets anyway. I like to say wellness is under this massive umbrella because there's so many different things, right, that you can apply to them. And as wellness coaches, sometimes it's like, okay, well, which ones do I choose and concentrate on, and which one goes hand in hand, which one can merge together? How do I create an acronym for all of this and all the things, right? And so much of it is really just that, the mental, emotional, spiritual, intellectual, physical, all of those things really come into play. And I'm not sure that if there's a real order to doing something, starting with the physical or starting with the spiritual. I think that it's kind of different with everybody. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely, yes. I always say everybody has a story to tell. And in that story, that's where everything shows up. So, one thing to the next thing to the next thing, but we just got to pay attention. But yes, for everybody, it's totally different because sometimes some people get their financial stability early in life, but everything else is a disaster.
Right.
Or you get your mental health in check, but the financial place is kind of like, oh, so yes, it's different.
I agree with you. Well, let's go on and continue with your journey, Lily. So you took care of that physical piece of yourself, where now you feel better, you feel lighter. What was next for you?
So I realized one day that I said, okay, I need to create habits. For me, it was like, okay, let's create habits. The next step for me, because I still had that void that I still, okay, there's something else. There's something else. The search for a purpose, right? So that's where I was going to. So what I did, I started going to conferences. That's I started reading a lot of books. That's when I found out about personal development. I was like, what is this personal development? And I met Jim Brown back that time, right? And I started listening to it, and I was like, oh, okay, so this makes sense. But I didn't believe it. See that, like, all those
Mm.
stuff is kind of like, and you see people talking about it, but then you tell yourself, when you're on the other side, you say, yeah, that worked for you. Oh, you did that, not me. Oh, that probably is not gonna work for me. Oh, that's not for me. So that was me. And I said one day, you know what, if I want to see a result, if I really, at least I should try something, right? That's when I start making the right changes. That's when I start implementing different habits, reading books consistently, journaling consistently, surrounding myself with people that make me feel very uncomfortable all the time. And I said, well, they seem to know that these were the people that were telling me, it's like, oh, if you do this, you're gonna feel better, and that I didn't believe. So I said, okay, if they say it, I might as well hang out with them and see what's up, right? So I start doing it, and I start seeing things differently. That's when a lot of things, when my mindset started changing.
Lily, and I agree with you. It does take that belief. It's easy to take in information and have an understanding of it, but it's totally different when you choose to accept it and
Right.
to believe it and to incorporate it into your essence, so to speak, right? But I'm very curious if you're open to sharing, what was it like? What was happening emotionally with you throughout your life? You talked about, the children and the failed marriage. What was kind of the roller coaster journey of that, and what was happening? Because you talk about the weight loss journey, but I'm curious, what was happening? What were the timestamps of all of that?
Like I said, I was bullied as a kid. So that's when everything started, because it's a constant reminder that something is wrong with you. So
Mm,
that's when everything started. And then I said, okay, if my physical doesn't work, then I'm gonna focus on my professional life. And that's when I succeed. I did pretty well back home. And that's when I start feeling the void. But coming in here and understanding that emotional roller coaster in my marriage, where I was, I don't know if this is too much to share, but he was in and out of prison, in and out of Yale. So I never had that experience in my life. I never experienced something like that. So it was totally foreign for me. And it was kind of like from one day to the other, it's like, oh, you have a husband? No, you don't. And
mm,
it was shocking. It was a shock. Because it's like, I came here to live a dream, and yet that dream is kind of like a nightmare. So after that, and then the pregnancy came, I had a miscarriage, and I had a lot of down, 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 down. Every It was a constant going down momentum. um
mm,
we talk about roller coasters. For me, it was just the roller coaster keep going down and down and down and underground. um and it was really, really hard for me to believe, also because my parents back home, they were like, boy, if you're not okay, just come home. But I had my pride, and I said, no. I told myself that I was gonna do it, and I'm gonna do it. But it was shame, it was pride, it was depression, it was a combo of different things and struggles. But what really did for me was when I said, you know what? Stop all this madness. I need to stop listening to this person right here, because this person right here is just talking about everything that happened in the back, everything that happened in the past. That person right here is not helping me. So I told her, I create a boundary with myself, and I said, you know what? You're not helping me. And I'm just going down and down and down. And because I self-talk myself into negativity. And it was a constant like, yeah, but it's not gonna work out. Oh yeah, that's not gonna be good. Oh yeah, no, that's not good at all. That was my
um,
narrative. Negative, negative, negative. And I
yeah.
said, have you seen the movie with Jim Carrey when he's like, say yes to everything? Uh,
Yes. Yes,
yes,
ma'am.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. So, two things that really did it for me. I watch Mr. Rogers. He inspires me to the level that I don't know. It's like people think that I'm weird for that. So, Mr. Rogers, the first thing that I saw from him was the speech that he gave in the Congress. That was the first time I heard of him. That was one.
Mm.
And number two was the yes, 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 yes. And I was like, oh, okay, Tim Robbins, right? So I was like, okay, well, let me try it. Movies thing, right? So I said, let me try that. And then I started changing. I was very intentional about saying, okay, this is negative. I think this is going to be wrong. Okay, what good thing can I think of it? What positive thing can I say of that? What positive thing can I say of that person? And I always say, if I don't have nothing good to say, my mouth shut. And that's what really helped me. And I told myself that too, my boundaries. It's like, if you don't have nothing good to tell me, I don't even want to listen to you. You need to
I need to you're encouraging me to readdress that good habit. You know, if you have nothing good to say nothing at all. I love that. Well, that's very inspiring, and I appreciate so much you sharing your story because, you know, it's interesting because you kept saying that we're down, 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 like the roller coaster is just dropping. You know, at this point, it's one of those rides that it's just the straight drop, right?
Yeah.
and and I feel that oftentimes we will be brought to those moments where things consistently get worse and worse. And it's like, this thing happened, and then this thing is happening, and now this, and oh my gosh, and your world is just falling apart. And that's what it takes to really be moved to say, like you said, stop it. I'm done with this. Enough is enough. And so that's why coaches are born, such as yourself.
Yes.
And I have this pretty empowering photo of you where this really began your speaking journey. And this is you on stage. You want to tell us a little about it?
Yes, I was actually, it was the first time I spoke. It was about 500 people. It was part of empowering the people
Wait a
to
minute,
use.
Lily, hold on. Did you just say this was the first time you spoke with 500 people?
Yes.
Whoa. I just gotta put a pin in that for half a second because that's incredible. And I know that there are speakers who listen to this, and I don't know about you, but I think that's pretty incredible and brave. Very brave of you. Public speaking is one of the top human fears.
Yes, it is. But you know what? For me, it feels when I have this, I have this emotion that I'm empowering and I'm helping someone. I always
Mm.
say, whatever you go, at least you get. If you get one thing, it's a score for you and for that person. So when I have these moments when I was like, okay, I'm going to speak, it's like, yeah, just be you and just speak. And I feel so comfortable. I feel so comfortable on the stage. Actually, I feel better being on a stage talking to a lot of people than going shopping. Shopping for me is a nightmare. So this is just different things. But yeah, that was a powerful, powerful experience for me.
Yes. Well, so I just wanted to bring that in because I think that what's beautiful about that is it shows the transformation that was really coming to take place in your life. And you know, when we start to dream big, it's almost like when we're on the right path, then things start to show up in a good way. And we talked about how you had this idea of having kids, starting a family, moving to a new country, the dream life, right? The American dream, even. And things weren't working out, but maybe that wasn't where you were supposed to go. That wasn't your path, or maybe it was and you had to go through certain things to get there. But when things start coming into alignment, things really start, there's a higher energy about it. And that picture really depicts that. It shows this higher energy being and doing the things that she's really called to do, and it's a beautiful thing. So we're going to move into our commercial, and when we get back, let's talk more about the transformation that you created and what that is in turn showing up for in the world. So stay tuned.
I want to let you know about my
All right, welcome back. So, Coach Lily, you've been sharing your awesome roller coaster ride story with us. And I think that's so very exciting. I love going on the journey with you. And so, you started to develop yourself spiritually, mentally, emotionally. You're getting into all the things you want to learn more. You want to start sharing what you've learned with others. We showed the photo of you speaking on stage, and now you're beginning to create a business and a vision of how you want to show up and project what you've learned to the world in order to be of service to others. So tell us a little bit about that.
This is something that I always say. Your life doesn't have to change in order for you to be transformed. So you can still have the same problems. You can still have the same husband, because we things like, oh, okay, I just changed husband and life is going to change, right? So and that's what I want to bring to my community. And who's my community? The people that feels the same way as I do, that there's nothing else, that they cannot find their purpose, that they don't have the life that they deserve. So it's important that we understand that moving forward, we can change. If we change the way we think, a lot of things you start seeing the world differently in a positive, with a positive lens. So what I started doing, I've been in so many groups. I started going to recovery meetings, AA meetings. I've been in all kind of meetings to get to know people, to listen. Because listening to people helps me feel that I'm not alone. It's like, oh my God, they're struggling like me too. So that's so powerful for me, because it's not, I'm not alone. That gives me a sense of belonging, right? But then I go through all these meetings and all these people are talking about this stuff, and then I tell myself, okay, so how do I do that? Tell me how I do that. and because that's what it is. Sometimes we have all these great ideas, but how do we apply them? How do we implement them? So that's why I said, okay, my goal is to be able to empower my community with the right tools, but not to tell them what to do. Help them find, because like I said, everybody has a superpower. Everybody has a gift. It's uncovering your gifts so we can find the right direction for you. Number one. So I've been involved with a lot of church leadership for a while now. And last year, having a dinner with all these ladies, we were just hanging out. And I said, wow, this works. And they were very receptive. Also, when people are eating because they don't have nothing else to do, especially women, right? We like multitasking. So we start having this conversation and everybody was paying attention. And I said, yes, this is it. I'm going to get their attention with food. And now I'm going to bring good stuff to you. So I created the ripple effect, which is a group of women we just met to talk about topics, mental health topics. But beyond me explaining what it is how can you do it? How can you practice it? Like, for example, if we talk about forgiveness, how do you forgive someone? Because this is not for the other person's benefit, and that's what we think, but it's how is that going to help you? How can you do it? How can you take the first step? And that's what this group is. We've been on for more than a year now. We meet every other Monday. We meet online and we meet in person, but the idea is I share the topic, and then everybody shares their experience with their topic, so we together in community can come up with the best answers and the best solutions and the best application for that. So
I
we
love
work
that.
together.
I
Yeah.
love that. Lily, so you talk so much about community. What is the importance of that to you?
Oh boy, because it happens. You're driving, right? You're driving. I drive fast. So I'm driving, and then especially in LA, you have to move fast. And then I see people, fighting car to car, or they yelling,
Mhm.
or everybody's so stressed out because life is as stressful as it is. We all have 110 things to think about. And then on top of that, you're jumping in front of me on traffic. Oh, this is the drop. So we all go through that. And I experience that often. So I said, this is what I think. If I help myself, then by example, I'm helping my little family, my kids. Because also another thing that we worried as women, as mothers, is who is influencing my kids. As a
Mm.
it's always lingering in the back of my mind. So, and then I said, okay, it's in me to help my kids to be the best they can so they can influence other kids, so they can be a positive influence for other kids instead of other kids worrying that other kids are going to influence them, right? So
So
if I,
this is the ripple effect that you're talking about,
yes,
right? So
yes,
and I'm a big advocator for that, by the way. I always say that it starts with you, right? As long as we work on ourselves first, it in turn, yeah, has that ripple effect. So I love that you explain it that way. And as a parent, you're right. And I mean, that would be a question that I would have for you as a parent. What do you feel is the number one thing that you can do as a parent for your children?
I was raised in a way that they say, shut up and don't say anything. I tell you what to do. I tell you when to speak. I tell you what to do. You're told what to do. And
Mm.
you don't have you don't develop this confidence to speak up. Moving forward, if you give your kids too much confidence to talk, they will always talk back, because now that's my struggle. But the idea is, how can we helping them to feel comfortable to come to you? Because I thought we have to be on them. Okay, what are you doing? Covering, right? It's like, what are you doing? What is this? What is that? Let me see. And but when they feel comfortable, I've noticed that they feel comfortable enough to come and tell you problems. And like, for example, very simple, and I think this is going to be too much information, but when I first got my period, I didn't share with anybody. I think I kept it for like a year. I didn't want nobody to know. Of course my mom knew, but I didn't want to say anything because I was ashamed of it. Now,
Oh,
yes, and that's what I thought. It's like, well, this is a curse, so I should keep it to myself. Moving forward, when I talk to my daughter, I give her the freedom to say, hey, tell me what you need. I'm not gonna nag you. Just tell me. Allow them to have the freedom to speak whatever they say
mhm.
with boundaries, so they can express themselves.
Oh, that's a great avenue. I probably got you off track a little bit, but I just of course get curious about what other parents feel. And you are this wisdom and light in the world of really managing our mental health and our self development. So I always love to ask those questions because of course many people are parents and or they know somebody who's a parent, and so it's a good wisdom to share with others.
Yes, just help them build their confidence. That's,
Yeah.
I think that's the beginning, however it looks like.
Yeah. So the ripple effect so much though is that the the way that we show up in the world and whatever that be, it ripple effects into how others show up. It's kind of like a smile is contagious, right?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly the same principle. That's what I always think. You go to I'm that person. I go to the market and I always smile at people and everybody smiles back.
Mm.
Everybody smiles back. But beyond that, it's kind of like the smiles is get printed. Like you cannot get rid of it. It's like you go like everywhere. You walk around, it's like then you start smiling for no reason. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So I would love to know. Well, let's bring in, because you started creating your own business now, being the coach, Coach Lily. And when you started creating that, I want to bring in the logo that you've created because I think it's pretty cool. I would love for you to describe this a little bit with us.
I'm a designer. I'm a designer by heart. I love when in those moments and when I feel low, I just pick up I start drawing. So that I draw that design, the transform and all of that. It's deep in my heart. Now, Butterflies is something that I have close to my heart too, because butterflies transform. They go from the caterpillar to the butterfly, right? Now, when they go through this transformation, and we all go through this exactly the same, from caterpillar to butterfly, what the caterpillars experience is they liquefied inside. So they go through a painful process to be able to come out, looking beautiful and all of that stuff. And that's why I see butterflies as a representation of what really life is. Really liquefied yourself and change everything that you thought life was, so you can shine and fly and be free. So that's where it be transformed. And like I said, I always say, renew your mind, and that's in the Bible too. Renew your mind so you can transform your life, not to change things around, but transform the way you see things. And that's what I move. That's what moves me, and that's what I always go with.
I love that. So I noticed there's not a lot of color with this. I don't know if you've changed that or not. Is it intentional? And the way that the words are, it's almost like a transparency aspect of it. Is that also intentional?
Yes, it is intentional, because I like to show up myself the way I am. And when I talk to someone, I want them to feel comfortable doing that. Because when you're like, oh, what is she going to do? Oh, what is she going to say? Well, oh. And then everybody has so many traumas that it's hard to bring everything to the table. So I have to be able to show up the same way. So when I'm talking to someone, I will bring things, personal things, because I want to tell you, you know what? You're not alone. You know what? We are all in the same boat. Let's get naked and let's talk about this. So that's what it is.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Is there anything else about this?
This is my baby. I love it. I just love it. And I do have it in different colors. I did the design with different colors, but then I said, no, you know what? Transparency. That's what I have to be transparent.
Yeah.
And that's what I go. And he has my name all over the place. He has L's. He has all kind of different designs. I just love it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I see some hidden things, and that's exactly what I thought, Coach Lily, that it was that transparency piece, and you did leave this intentionally to look exactly as it is. So that's beautiful. And then this is that other aspect that you created, the wheel.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the wellness wheel, right?
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody knows about that. So one day, because I've been having these thoughts of my skills. Everybody has skills, but the skills comes from our experiences, right? Things that you learn along the way and all of that good stuff. So talking about the wellness wheel, it has different spaces. So what I did is I tweak it a little bit based on what I see on my clients and based on what my community talks about. And based on that, I started tweaking it. And what I did is, you don't see me right now, but I have my book in here. I created the wellness flower, which is the 7 blocks. There it is, the 7 blocks.
I'll bring you in. Hold on. Let me get you in there. There you go. You can have that.
So 7 building blocks for a thriving life. What that means is it's hard for someone. If I really want to help someone, if I really want to help my community, how can I help them in a way that they feel comfortable? That was the original question for me, because a lot of people say, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to talk to someone. Oh, I don't know if she's the right person. Oh, everybody has so much junk at the back and the past that we are very self-conscious of talking to people. They don't feel comfortable talking to people. But I needed to do something so they can start the process, jumpstart that process. Instead of you calling me, guess what? It's a booklet. So it's a booklet with activities for you to do, and it has a wake up routine, an evening routine to start creating habits, healthy habits, as simple as, see, and this is what I people don't grasp the idea. As simple as, if you are not used to making your bed in the morning, just do it. Make your bed in the morning. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't do that. And it was hard but then I started realizing that we just need that push, or just tell me what to do, right? So these 7 building blocks is, what do you think you need help in your life? And then you can go, oh, I need time management, or I need spirituality, or career work, or finances, relationships, self, emotional, physical health. So you can pick whichever you think you're struggling with and start doing the work on your own. It is a way of coaching yourself. Start the
Mm.
process so then you can feel comfortable talking to someone else.
I love that. And then you also bring in the community. So this is something that people can really, concentrate on themselves to build those daily habits and be a part of a community at the same time. I think that's brilliant. So Coach Lily, what are some of the things that you do on a daily basis? What are your habits that you create in order to live a wellness lifestyle?
I used to hate structure. I used to hate to-do list. I used to hate people telling me what to do. So what I did is, what really works is create a 10 top 10 list of items that you
Mhm.
follow. And that helps us with the structure and discipline and staying focused and staying present, because it's like, oh, squirrel. And then you go and grab something else. Oh, the dishes. Oh, the laundry. So it's always a constant bombarded thing. So what I do is I create a list. I stay with the list. And in my list, I always include things that help my holistic health. uh, Working out at least 30 minutes, must not, because sometimes I don't feel like it, but once you do it, when you get in motion, you get an emotion, and that's what it is. Make yourself feel
Mm.
like it. So working out, making my bed, brushing my teeth. For those people that are like, well, what's the point? I brush my teeth at 12. No. Starting with the self-care, starting in the morning, when I go into the bathroom, what I tell myself: today is going to be a great day. Keep your mind positive, Lily. And then from there, brush my teeth, make my bed, go through my routine, work out. I do post. I do have Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook account. So I do a short post of what to do in some days. It's like, how can I help my community? That's another way that I do it. So
Mm.
I make a post, and then I make sure that I give myself timing. By the 10 a.m., I'm sitting down in front of my computer and I'm ready to go. Also, another thing that we must do: take breaks every hour and a half, every 2 hours, 10 minutes. I do it. Sometimes I play a game, or I read a magazine, or I go for a walk, or I just sit down and I just stare at the wall, but just to make sure that I renew my energy too. And that's part of taking breaks and going with the cycles. So I'm saying a lot of things. I know it's like everybody like, oh my God, this is too much. No, just simple things in the morning routines that we can create and stick with it. It's like, oh no, today I don't have time. Have you ever heard, you know who David Goggins is?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Totally inspired me. Like, he was like, yes, let's do it. And he's just, I mean, I follow him, like, but because
Really
not so
does
much,
it.
because he just says, just do it, right? It's like, what are you complaining about? Just go and do it. And
Yeah.
that's what I tell myself, because I always think, if I don't do it, how am I going to feel afterwards, right? When the time passes. And I
Yeah.
know I'm not going to feel good about it. So it's like, nope, I must do it. I want to feel good after this. So
Mhm.
I make a list, and that includes all my simple routines, like routine in the morning, routine in the afternoon, and then my priorities. My list is always based on my priorities. If it's not in my priority, it probably won't get done. If it's the dishes are there hanging out, I know they will be hanging out, because that's where they hang out, right? At the sink. But if it's not their time, it's not their time. And guess what? Nobody dies. Guess what?
Yeah.
The world keeps rolling. So that's what I do.
Yeah, I think that's important to know and understand and come to, that understanding that there are things that are more urgent and there are things that can be put to the side because it's not something that we need to get to right now. The world is not going to stop turning, right? So
Yeah. Nope.
I think that those are really good keys. And I love that you start your day by today's going to be a great day, and keeping your mindset really on track with that. There's a lot of studies that have been done revolving around that. As the minute that you start to come about and wake up in bed, to really start thinking in the positive aspects, because it really sets the tone for your day. And so I think that is great that you're doing that. And I also heard that you utilize, oh, I forgot my mindset now. I forget. But yes, I think that, oh, they make the bed. So I think that is really important. You're right. It's simple, but if you're not doing that, the way that it really affects the rest of your day, the rest of your mood, because it's an environmental aspect too. Like the way that we have our space around us really reflects the internal thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Because I always say this: the way your space looks, that's how your mind looks. So if your office is all chaotic or your bedroom is all chaotic, when you go to bed, your mind is all chaotic. So if you have piles of clothes and books all over the place, that is just all over the place, that's a reflection of how we're thinking. We have a lot of thoughts piling up on top of others, and then we wonder why we have stress and anxiety. So clear up your space and you will clear up your mind for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to bring in this last photo, because this is your community that you're building. This is some of the transformations that you are helping take place. And what I like about this, because Lily, you're not one of those people that's like diet, diet, diet only. You're very well rounded. You have the seven in the wheel, and so you concentrate on so many different aspects of overall wellness, and in turn, it really starts showing up in people's lives on so many different levels in such a beautiful way. So tell us about this photo.
Ah, this is such good times. So, yes, I just wanted to create awareness of who I am and what I'm doing, and that photo just has shows different some of the best times of my life. Because and the bottom one, when the bottom left one where I'm the back, I thought it was just to be able to put a it's a swimsuit, and I was like, oh, I'm just so proud of myself. When we achieve something, we have to celebrate it, and this is what it is. This picture represents celebration, my mini celebration, how I have transformed myself. And piggybacking on what you were saying earlier, we have to be fully conscious what we put in our body, and that's starting early in the morning, first thing in the morning. Your thoughts, your food intake, everything what you put in your body, because that's the beginning of the new day. So that's what will tell you how your day will go. So if the first thing you wake up is like, ugh, I have to go to work again, ugh, life sucks, then guess what? Life will suck. But if you wake up and say, okay, I don't know what's today, but I'm going to do the best I can, and just go do it, right? Now, also, if you wake up and the first thing you put in your mouth is a donut, guess what? Your day is going to be a full donut all day. When you have headaches and you feel sluggish and you want to continue doing the same, a donut and then a burger and then another donut, it's a chain of events that happen. So, but we have the power to control that chain of event. So whatever you put in your body, make sure that you're fully mindful, thoughts and intake. Don't drink coffee in the morning. That's too much.
I love that. Lily, it has been a joy to have you on the Wellness Driven Life Show. Is there anything else that you want to share with our audience today?
Just be mindful. Just be present. Don't do it for people. Do it for yourself, because when you do it for you, you're now an example, and people start seeing it and paying attention. Oh, what is she doing? Oh, what is he doing? And that's the best way we can transform people around us, by example. So be the best you can today.
Oh, that's awesome. I want to make sure everyone knows where to find you. And so for our listening audience, it is www.coachlilylomeli.com. And am I saying your last name correctly?
Lomeli.
I love that. Okay, great. I'm glad I got that correctly. I'm going to spell it out for those that are listening. And also, this is always in the description below. All of our guest information is there. So please, if you want to reach out and find them, learn more, that is where you go. And it is www.coachlily, Lily, spelled correctly, Lomeli. That is Lomeli, Lomeli.com. So visit her, check her out, see what she has to offer, and all of the things that she's creating. Her community sounds amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to be a part of that, because when you can learn how to forgive and you hear everybody else's insight in their journeys and how they do things, it's very, very powerful. So I appreciate that. Yes. So thank you again for being on the show, Coach Lily. It's been a joy to have you today.
Yes. Thank you. I'm blessed. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
My pleasure. And for everyone listening, thank you so much. The show wouldn't be possible without you, so we appreciate you more than you can know. Thank you so much for tuning in. Goodbye for now, and we will see you next time.